On the morning of May 19, 1780, the sky over Barnstable, Massachusetts turned a sickly yellow. The sun glowed a dim red, and by early afternoon, the day had plunged into total pitch-black night. The air smelled faintly of soot, which to the deeply religious colonists registered immediately as brimstone. Lacking satellite weather feeds or scientific models to explain the darkness, the townspeople began lighting candles and preparing for Judgment Day. It is easy to see how panic took root. Early Cape Cod was an unforgiving environment, an isolated stretch of sand and marshland at the edge of the known world, regularly battered by erratic weather. The region was already famous for strange atmospheric phenomena. Sailors and settlers regularly documented bizarre optical illusions along the coast, where temperature inversions caused entire shorelines to reflect back at them, or made distant ships appear to hover completely upside down over the sea. When a strictly religious, isolated community faces a landscape where the laws of nature seem to break, human psychology takes over. People invent stories to make sense of the terror they cannot understand. In early Barnstable, those stories almost always targeted the most vulnerable. People pushed to the fringes of society often took refuge in the isolating forests outside of town, where solitude bred rumors of witchcraft. One of the most persistent legends is that of Liza Towerhill. Local folklore describes her as a terrifying witch who lived by Halfway Pond, dancing on the water and cursing local men by riding them through the night like horses. But the historical record reveals a different reality. The figure of the demon-summoning witch was actually a pious woman named Elizabeth Lewis Blatchford. Toward the end of Elizabeth's life, enemies began spreading malicious rumors. By slightly altering her name from Elizabeth to Liza Towerhill, thus avoiding legal slander, they created a fictional identity that could grow unchecked. Over generations, the memory of the real woman was erased. All that survived was the fantastical legend written by her detractors. The terrifying witches of Cape Cod were the tragic consequence of social ostracization and the destructive power of rumor, rather than actual supernatural threats. Myth-making also took root in the town center, where Barnstable built the old jail in 1690. Colonial Barnstable operated the site as a 17th century torture pit. Conditions were designed for maximum physical suffering, making the structure a site of immense misery rather than rehabilitation. It was here that stories emerged about people like Robert the Scot, a manservant wrongfully executed for murder and unceremoniously buried in unhallowed ground. To this day, locals claim that if you stand near the eastern marshes at night, you can hear his phantom bagpipes playing as he endlessly searches for the evidence that would clear his name. The phantom bagpipes and lingering spirits serve as a projection of collective trauma, the cultural memory of an unforgiving and often broken justice system. As shipping and highway traffic eventually bypassed the village, the old King's Highway froze in time. This economic shift preserved a perfectly static corridor of colonial architecture. This preservation includes the Barnstable House, or the House of 11 Ghosts. Built in 1716, it carries a dense history of tragedy. A cross-section of the property shows the subterranean river that flows directly beneath the foundation, the same stream where a young girl named Lucy Payne drowned. Local lore dictates that these hidden waterways carry natural energies that fuel the paranormal. Modern residents continue to report daily interactions with these figures, from lawyers seeing colonial women in their offices to restaurant staff shouting at spirits to stop interrupting their work. Living inside these unchanged 300-year-old frames compels each new generation to integrate and repeat the ancient legends to make sense of their environment. Walking down the Old King's Highway today provides a direct encounter with the dark, paranoid imagination of early America. While modern horror relies on visceral shock, we continually return to these old, quiet villages, seeking out the slow, atmospheric dread of a colonial haunting. These myths survive because they are the closest connection we have to the everyday, real terrors experienced by the people who built this country. In Barnstable, ghosts are simply history that refuses to die.